Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And interestingly enough, this is usually the last video that I film every day, but today, this is the first video that I'm filming because I have a recovery commitment today that I am trying to get to. I'm trying to tell myself that I can get there and I can get inside, and once I get sitting in the chair, I'll be fine. But I have like an hour before I have to leave, so I thought, well, I'm going to sit down and do some meditations first, and maybe that will kind of inspire me and motivate me for the day. I woke up today in very, very high spirits. I'm like really in a happy mood today, but my leg is still just like, it's shooting pain down the side, from the side all the way down my leg, and I even just like, I shaved down here and trimmed my beard a little bit. And just standing at the bathroom counter just really took it out of me. But I was like, okay, like, we're gonna have a good day today, and I'm not gonna push myself too hard. I'm gonna try to get all of my stuff done that I wanna get done earlier in the day so I can relax and rest throughout the rest of the day. So I thought, what better way to start my day than on some meditations, which I usually do. So I already did my prayers and my meditations and my gratitude list and my affirmations and things like that. So I thought I would read some of the meditations that I don't typically read in the morning, which are the ones that I bring over to this channel. So here they are, the 4 books that I have been reading from consistently recently. Let's see what is in the Daily Book of Positive Quotations. I love this book to start, and you can get this book anywhere. It's by Linda Picone. I have it in my Amazon shop that's listed below, but you don't have to get it there. You can get it from anywhere. I think my best friend Tanya, actually, we were in Meijer one night and she found this and she bought this for a friend of ours in recovery. So, all right, now I have to tell you, my need for reading glasses has gotten so bad recently that I literally, like, last night I was watching I'll Be Gone in the Dark on HBO on my iPad, and I was sitting outside and it was like a foot away from me and I had to wear my reading glasses. I'm having to wear my reading glasses for everything. Last night, there have been these reading glasses that I've really, really wanted, but they're very expensive. And last night, I just was kind of like, you know what? You're going to need reading glasses. This isn't going away. So I bought 2 pairs from this website, and I hope I like them. One of them are clear. I was like, I want to try something new, something kind of a little funky as I get older. So they're like clear frames. So you'll get to see those very, very soon. I got these actually off of Amazon, and I really like these. One of the pairs that I got are called like Porky Backstage, and they're very similar to this, so they might be the exact same ones, except for that they're black. These are black, aren't they? These are black too, so we'll see. If they're identical, then I paid too much money for them. Which, that wouldn't be the first time that something like that happened to me. All right, let's get into this. I just want to say this too, by the way. This channel has been getting like double the amount of views that it used to get, and it is just, everybody is like, I love this channel, I love this channel, thank you so much for this channel. It really, really means a lot to me. And, you know, I have kind of a funny story. I told this when it happened. Alex and I were actually talking about this. We couldn't remember if it was last year that we went to Connecticut or it was the year before, but I do believe it was, I think it was 2 years ago. We went to Connecticut, to some small town, because Alex had this training for work. And so I just stayed at the bed and breakfast all day long and ate lemon verbena pancakes in the morning and things like that. And I had to drive back and forth because the only way to upload my videos was like on my phone, but like you had to drive through the town to catch the Wi-Fi. I know it sounds strange, but the tricks you do when you're uploading videos. And so that was the only way to get Wi-Fi. Well, there was a Starbucks at like the next town up. And so one day I went there to try to upload my videos. And this young lady came up to me and she said, "Are you Peter?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, and we're talking about small town, okay? Like, I don't even remember what the town, I mean, it was small. These towns were adorable. I mean, I would love to live there. And it's so funny because I look back and like, that was one of the trips that like I didn't really think much about going into. And in retrospect, like that was probably one of the best trips we ever had. And it was just this little small bed and breakfast. And I told Alex, I said, "Wasn't that one of the best trips we ever had?" And he goes, "I mean, I was in a conference the whole time," which he was. But so anyway, this young lady came up to me as I think I was getting ready to leave, or maybe I was sitting there working on the computer, and she said, "Are you Peter Monn? Are you Peter?" And I said, "Yeah." and she said, "Oh my God, I love your videos." And I said, "Oh, thank you so much." Well, typically when people come up to me and they say that, I have to tell you, it's funny. It's usually for my BookTube channel. I don't know why, but like usually when people stop me, it's for my BookTube channel. And then if anybody else stops me, it's for the drama channel. It's not for, you know, anything else. So anyway, now people like at like food places are starting to notice me when I come and do reviews, which I like for my review channel. But anyway, she said, and this was kind of like the start of this happening several times that year. And I don't get noticed in public a lot. It just never happens to me. But anyway, she said, I watch all of your videos. And she said, on your Peterisms channel. I love your Peterisms channel. It helps me so much. In fact, she started crying and stuff. And it was just so endearing. And she kind of told me her story and why my channel was so helpful to her. And then like, it seemed like after that, I had like 2 or 3 people come up to me in like the next 6 weeks and say the same thing. And what was interesting was at that time, I wasn't really thinking about getting rid of this channel, but I was really thinking about slowing down this channel a lot, you know? And just to know that there are people out there that this channel means so much to and love and wait for the videos to be uploaded means so much to me. I just want you to know that I have no plan on ever stopping this channel. I love doing this channel. I mean, simply all I do is read meditations and talk about them. But it also is so helpful for me to be able to have a place to, I mean, when I'm talking about these things out loud, like it really, really helps me. It's like I'm having a conversation with a friend, you know? And for years, Tanya and I, my best friend Tanya, we would read The Language of Letting Go in the morning, and then we would talk about it in the afternoon. So this is kind of similar to that for me. All right, so I just want to say thank you guys so much for, you know, keeping watching this channel. It really, really means a lot to me. All right, let's get into this. It is August 7th. Let's see what it has to say. Self-disclosure. August 7th, self-disclosure. If you do not tell the truth about yourself, you cannot tell it about other people. Virginia Woolf. When we recognize our own flaws and our own strengths and can share them with others, we have more credibility when we access the flaws and strengths of those around us. In fact, we have more credibility in all that we do when we are honest about ourselves with others. I know what I do well and what I don't do well. I know the mistakes I've made in the past and the successes I've had. I don't need to paint a false picture to others. I can tell my story just as it is. I think it's a great meditation. You know, there's a saying in recovery to live out loud and to tell your truth and to tell on yourself. You know, for 25 and a half years, that's what I've done in the rooms of recovery, except for the 4 that I wasn't going to meetings, was I've told on myself. And I've come into rooms, and when I'm not in a great space, I say, I'm not in a great space today, you know, or if something's going on with me, I say, this is going on with me and I need to talk about it, you know. And it's really saved my butt. It really, really has saved my butt, because when I'm not, you know, we talk about honesty as this, like, this idea of, like, not lying on a test or, you know, not cheating and things like that. But the reality is, or being like 100% honest about your opinion or, you know, whatever, or not be a liar. But I think that we can be liars of the soul as well. After I came back into the rooms of recovery, so there were 4 years that I didn't go to meetings, and it was the darkest period of my life. I had no emotional sobriety, and I had no spiritual axiom, no spiritual foundation in my life whatsoever. And when I came back into the rooms of recovery, I heard this lead, and this woman was talking about, so a lead is like, in a 12-step program, is when somebody tells their story, and they talk about what it was like, what it's, how they got here, and what it's like now. And so they basically just tell their story of their addiction and their recovery. And that's a form of a meeting, but you can also listen to them online. There's a lot of them on YouTube, and there's actually websites that have them as well. So I was listening to this woman's lead, and she was talking about how she had gone to this meeting every day, and this woman would ask her, how are you doing? And she'd say, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm fine. And she was dying inside, right? And this was so me at the beginning when I first came back into meetings. And then finally one day, she looked at this woman, and the woman said, how are you doing today? And she said, you know, I'm not doing good. I'm not doing okay. And she said that was like the day that her life started changing and her life turned around. That was such like a profound lead for me to hear. I needed to hear that statement, you know, that I think sometimes we believe our own lies of the soul, and what that means is, are you okay? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've told people I was okay when I wasn't, you know? When I really needed to talk to somebody. And even like my closest friends, my husband, my family, my sponsor would say, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm okay. Because A, I didn't want to burden somebody else. B, I really didn't want to get into it. And C, I thought it would pass. When in reality, it didn't and it wouldn't, you know? And I needed to talk about those things. So today, I try to live out loud. I try to tell on myself when I'm going through something, and I say, look, I'm not doing very well today. Like, I'm just not. Like, I need some help today. Or, you know, like, I'm really struggling. And, you know, this week has been really a test of that for me with my leg hurting and things. It's been really, really good for me to, like my sponsor, I've had to check in with her every single day. So it's been really good for me to, you know, and yesterday, actually, it's interesting because it got like so late at night and I was like, oh my God, I was like, I couldn't remember if I had called her earlier in the day or not. And because I'm like calling people all day long, right? And I was like, oh my God, it's too late now to call her. I mean, and she would say it's never too late to call her, right? Like that's the burden part of it. But, you know, like, I've been like checking in with so many people and like, you know, like my husband, he texted me like when I got up this morning or I texted him and I said, good morning. And he said, how are you doing, babe? And I was like, my leg is hurting really, really bad, but I've got some things I want to do today. So I'm going to try to push myself. And he was like, well, don't push yourself too hard. But you know, like I've got to be honest with people about what I'm doing. I can't just sit there and act like, oh, my leg is fine. I can get through this. Right. And even like with the commitment that I have today, you know, I told the people involved, I said, look, like I'm going to try my best, but like, and they're like, hey, you know, it is what it is. Whatever you can do, you can do. And I think like in being honest about our circumstances and where we're at, you know, I think is a really important part of taking care of ourselves. I think when we're going through breakups or changing or ending of careers or somebody's passed in our life or we just have loneliness, you know, like I think of so many of my friends that like get separated or divorced or go through a breakup. I think those are really some of the hardest times, really truly some of the hardest times, right? I mean, like with, I hate saying this, but with death, it's finite. I mean, we know like the person that's passed or, you know, the pet that's passed is not coming back. We know that. I mean, deep down, we know that, I think, even though we might be in denial at first about like the feelings or the emotions. But when you go through a breakup, it's so hard, especially like you know, a romantic breakup, obviously. Friendships falling apart are kind of different because you kind of linger and hold on and think that it's gonna, you know, get better. But I think breakups, especially in the day of social media, where you can see what they're doing on Instagram and you can see what they're doing on Facebook and, you know, whatever. I always, you know, like when friends of mine are going through breakups, I'm like, you need to delete them and block them off that social media. You don't need to see what they're doing because that's just going to make it 10 times harder for you, you know? But I think in going through that and saying like, you know, not like we need to get back together or calling them 100 times, which I've done all of those things, you know, but to say to one of your friends, like, I'm not doing very well today. Like, I really miss him or I really miss her and I need to talk about it, you know? Maybe that person's not the best person for you, you know, but I always think of Jackie from Roseanne when, I can't remember who it is. I think I think it's Becky breaks up with Mark, like the first time they break up, and Jackie says, just because you love somebody doesn't mean you're supposed to be with them. And I think about that because there's been so many people in my life, you know, that I have really loved dearly as friends and romantic partners that like I didn't have any business being with them and they didn't have any business being in my life, you know? And had I not like tried so hard to hold on to that, you know, in my life, like I had tried really hard to like keep that person in my life. Had I been willing to let it go, you know, like let go, let God kind of thing, the 12-step saying, but whatever you believe in, you know, if I had let go of that, and I learned to do that over time, I did, you know, maybe not in moment 1, but maybe in moment 10, and in between moment 1 and moment 10, I allowed myself to be honest. But when I allowed myself to be honest about those feelings and those emotions of wanting to hang on at any expense, you know, when I was honest to other people about that, and I wasn't, you know, like lying to myself about how I was feeling, like, oh, I'm okay, I'll get over this. You know, this is one of the things I see happen this a lot to my friends, okay? Oh, I'm fine. And then 2 weeks later, they're, you know, dating somebody else and they're all curled up next to them. We're going to, you know, Cheesecake Factory for dinner and they're introducing me to their new boyfriend and they're all curled up next to each other in this, you know, like in the booth, and she's all over him. And then like, you know, a month later, she's like, I can't believe you left me. And I'm like, well, did you maybe like, you know, transfer one relationship to the next? and then, you know, and she'll say, what do you think I should do? And I'll say, I think you need to take some time to yourself, you know, like we all do. I think we need to take time between relationships to get to know ourselves again, because we've changed during that relationship. But so many of my friends, you know, love is the cure, and they just jump and jump and jump and jump. I did that too, you know. I've talked about this a lot, how I'm addicted to monogamy. And so I always wanted to be in this long and lasting relationship that was committed forever and ever, amen, you know, like date one, we're getting married, you know, like that's how I thought. And it took me, you know, getting into marriage counseling at 45 years old, to really realize how unhealthy that was, you know, that kind of like claw mentality, and it's not healthy. It's just not. You need to be independent within your own relationship, and it's taken me a long time to like understand that and be okay with it, you know. And I think that the more we're honest with ourselves about how we really are feeling inside, and then we vocalize that to somebody else, and you don't have to be in recovery, you know. You can have a close friend. If it's a close friend you trust, okay, that could be an accountability partner, or get a counselor, or get a life coach or somebody, you know, to talk to and say, like, I need somebody, or journal, you know. Journal to yourself and be honest with yourself about what's going on. But we have to stop lying, you know, about and keeping the lie alive. We have to stop that. We have to be honest with ourselves. And if we're not doing okay, we need to be honest about that. People are falling into isolation because they're not being honest about, you know, how they really feel. And people are dying every day because they're not being honest about how they're feeling, you know. And they're muting that with alcohol and drugs and you know, other addictions and things like that. And if not that, then they're just alone. And that, I think, can sometimes be the worst of all, to just be alone with your feelings and your emotions, and not being okay, and not telling anybody that you're not okay, and not having anybody to talk to and say you're not okay, and not drinking, and not, you know what I mean, and you're just there with your feelings. Like, that is, I think, one of the hardest places I've ever been in my entire life, where I didn't really know what to do with that. And you know, if anything, I can serve as an example that if you put one foot in front of the other, and you trust the journey, and you start journaling and get somebody to talk to, things will get better. It's going to be okay. I promise you it will. But you have to trust yourself, and you have to be honest with yourself. Anyway, I love you guys, and let me know what you think about that in the comment section below, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.